Words of Sri Aurobindo from the book The Mother, from the collective works of Sri Aurobindo, volume 32, page 198, topic The Mother's Force. Question: when a sadhak works with the right attitude and the higher force acts in him directly, how does the force work to purify or remove his defects and imperfections? For this, Sri Aurobindo says, it acts by awakening the inner consciousness gradually or swiftly, by replacing the principle of ego service by the principle of service of the divine, by making him watch his actions and see his own defects and pushing him to rectify them, by establishing a connection between his consciousness and the mother's consciousness, by preparing his nature to be taken up more and more by the mother's consciousness and force, by giving him experiences which make him ready for the major experience of yoga, by stimulating the growth of his psychic being, by opening him to the mother as the universal being, etc. Naturally, it acts differently in different persons. 7th May 1937. Next subtopic: Reliance on the mother's force. Question: my mind is not yet quiet, and that is why I am not getting any joy in my sadhana, any experience or realization, nothing at all. This makes me very sad and unhappy. May the Mother bestow on me the flow of peace and help me to open my closed heart center. For this, Sri Aurobindo says, there has always been too much reliance on the action of your own mind and will. That is why you cannot progress. If you could once get the habit of silent reliance on the power of the Mother, not merely calling it in to support your own effort, the obstacle would diminish and eventually disappear. 14th July 1929. Sri Aurobindo says, you should not rely on anything else alone, however powerful it may seem, but chiefly, primarily, fundamentally on the mother's force. The sun and light may be a help and will be if it is true light, and the true sun can never take the place of the mother's force. 28 May 1930. Question: there is no aspiration in me, no capacity to follow something higher. I feel dullness inside, but I do feel quiet from the pressure of my head. I must be patient and keep faith, then you will make me conscious. For this, Sri Aurobindo says, quietude first, with the confidence in the mother's force that is working on you. When the physical mind is obliged to be quiet, it has this impression of inactivity and dullness at first. When it opens more and more to the force, that impression will disappear. 12th November 1932. Question: if one gives full and constant consent to the mother's working, how can the attempt of other beings to enter into one succeed? For the Sri Aurobindo says, if you give consent to the mother's working alone, then it cannot. If it is not only always an attempt, it is not always an attempt. One receives the thoughts and feelings of the others without any attempt or intention of theirs, because they are in the atmosphere. 31st July 1933. Sri Aurobindo says, the depression has come upon you because you accepted the thought that you are not doing what you should and not using the chance Mother has given you. Such thoughts should never be indulged, for they open the door to depression, and depression opens the door to old moments. They used to come formerly from the idea that you were unfit. Now it is this idea that you are not doing all you ought to do. As a matter of fact, you have been progressing with a surprisingly rapidity for the last days at a rate that we ourselves did not expect from you. But whether the progress is rapid or slow, the attitude should always be an entire faith and reliance on the Mother, just as you do not think that the progress was the result of your own effort or merit, but of your taking the right attitude of reliance and the Mother's force working. So you should not think that any slowness or difficulty was due to your own demerit, but only seek to keep this attitude of reliance and let the Mother's force work. Slowly or rapidly does not matter. Sri Aurobindo says the dream was again one of these experiences of test or ordeal on the vital plane which you have been having. Here it was the test of temptation by the power, comfort, riches, attractive things, as it was formerly the test by fear, difficulty, trouble. The evidence of all these tests is that your inner being is perfectly ready and free to go unwaveringly to the goal. There is nothing there that is wrong or defective. Keep the reliance steady in your heart and do not allow self distrust, depression, or sadness to invade you from outside. Question: how can I do yoga when I know nothing about your yoga? I don't even know what to do. Question: how can I do yoga when I know nothing about your yoga? I don't even know what to do. For this, Sri Aurobindo says there are two ways of doing yoga, one by knowledge and one's own efforts, the other by reliance on the Mother. In the last way, one has to offer one's mind, heart, and all to the Mother for her force to work on it, call her in all difficulties, have faith and bhakti. At first, it takes time, often a very long time, for the consciousness to be prepared in this way, and during that time, many difficulties can come up. But if one perseveres a time, if one perseveres, a time comes when all is ready, the Mother's force opens the consciousness fully to the divine, then all that must develops within. Spiritual experience comes, and with it the knowledge and union with the divine. 9th April 1937. Sri Aurobindo